Good day, gamers. What's going on? It is Extreme Azir here, once again, bringing you yet another X Talk video presentation. Alright, so today I'm going to be talking about a game that I haven't really talked about before, but it has a very strong following. It is Xenoblade Chronicles for the Wii U, which is being developed by the Nintendo-owned company of MonolithSoft. Now, Monolith made a very big success when they released the original Xenoblade Chronicles on the Wii. And now they intend to do it again with Xenoblade Chronicles X, which is why this game has been so hyped. It's been roughly just over 2 years since the game was announced. It was announced in early 2013 during a January Nintendo Direct, which was released by Nintendo, probably most likely out of desperation. And I say that because that was at a time when the Wii U situation was even more critical than it is right now. A lot of games didn't make it to launch like they were supposed to, and a lot of people were worried that, did I just buy a paperweight? Like, where's all my games? And then when Nintendo released that, it showed that there was a lot of content coming, and Xenoblade Chronicles is one of them. Now, for pretty much every game that was announced in that direct, except Shin Megami Tensei Times Fire Emblem, has been released. So we only really have two remaining, which is Xenoblade Chronicles X and, like I said, Shin Megami Tensei Times Fire Emblem. And with this game, like I said, it has a huge following. A lot of great things have been said about it from gamers who have been following the game. And yeah, the situation is looking good. At least it was until someone decided to put together a little comparison video showing us identical scenes from a trailer that was released 2 years ago during E3 2013. That was when we got the second look at the game. And a trailer that was just recently released in the recent Nintendo Direct, which happened earlier this month, April 2015. And like I said, the scenes are identical. But the problem is that we have ourselves a Ubisoft watchdog situation. Yes, the downgrade gate, as some have called it. And with this scene, it shows that even though it's 2 years in between, development cycles, the newer footage actually looks more downgraded than what was shown at E3 2013, and this has gotten a lot of gamers riled up, like I said, just like Watch Dogs situation. And I'm just gonna go ahead and show you guys. It's very short, just over 40 seconds, so sit back and watch. Alright, now we just watched the trailer, and as you can clearly see, the footage on the left definitely looked a lot better than what was shown on the right. And because of this, like I said, a lot of people have called downgrade gate on Monolith for doing this, just like how they did with Ubisoft and Watch Dogs. If you guys remember, Watch Dogs was shown, when it was first shown, that thing was beautiful. Like, that looked like virtually almost nothing we'd seen in a video game to date. It was supposed to be the first true next-gen title. And unfortunately, it did not do all the things that it was promised to do. And that is a whole bunch of different factors, not just that the graphics were better in the first reveal versus when it was released. That really isn't the point. What's going on here is that, like I said, it's a similar effect that's happening here with Xenoblade Chronicles X and the way that people are reacting. Now, are they right for reacting like this? Actually, the answer may surprise you. While it does clearly look downgraded per se, I'm just going to quickly read a comment which was posted by a YouTuber on that very same video. Her name is TRN, and she makes a very good point, which is more than likely exactly what the case is. And she says, and I quote, "The first one, which is of course the footage on the left, was most likely a target render inside the game engine. And what we got is the same scene after optimization," referring to the right footage. "The game is not really downgraded. They probably just shifted their focus on larger scale environments and had to optimize a few things here and there to make it possible. You can tell because the open world aspects of the game do look better than when they were shown back then." Like I said, she makes a very good point. That is the end of the quote. She makes a very good point. Well, I gotta leave it to gamer girls. They're awesome. Like she said, the first one was most likely a target render inside the game engine. That is what developers do a lot, especially when they're revealing a game. If you ever see the footage looks like really good, that's usually because it's an in-game render. Now, what is the difference? Sorry, in-engine, I should say. So what's the difference between in-engine and in-game? Well, in-engine, of course, the engine is what runs the game. Is what the game runs on. That's what's powering the game. That's what's fueling the game. That is the basis of the entire title. So when the developers show off a game rendered in-engine, it's really just showing what the engine is capable of. It really isn't limited by whatever specific hardware it's going to be running on, and that is why the reveal footage usually looks really good. Now, the first time we saw Xenoblade Chronicles X, which was, like I said, at that E3 2013 Direct, no, sorry, not E3, at January 2013 Direct, it looked pretty bland. Like, it looked alright, but it just looked pretty bland. There was obviously a lot of work that was put into it. So when we saw this second reveal, everyone was like, "Whoa, look at that improvement, wow, that's awesome." And then we see this now, and it's like, okay, you guys took 2 steps back again, so why the difference? The first time we saw the game, that was probably raw, unedited gameplay footage. The second time we saw the game, which was in this video on the left side, that was a more proper reveal that was more than likely in-engine. And now here we're seeing the game near release. So this is probably exactly what it's going to look like when it's released in a few short weeks in Japan. This is more likely what it's going to look like, and is once again in-game footage versus in-engine. So with that second reveal, with the footage on the left, like she said, it was more than likely in-engine footage, and that, like I said, it's not limited to the hardware power. It's running on PC to begin with. All games are made on PC, so really it's using the power of the PC to just render all that stuff at once, and that's why it looks so good. But now here we're seeing once again raw gameplay footage on the right. That is after all the optimization that was put into it to make sure it's a good, clean game for the Wii U. Now, is this really a downgrade? Like Tiara said, no, it isn't. It's in-game footage versus in-engine footage, and that's probably exactly what happened with Watch Dogs, as well as so many other titles that go through these downgrade phases. It's not really false advertising, it's just that you have to remember, consoles are not super computers. They're limited systems. They can only do so much at once. While they are streamlined and optimized to run games specifically, you know, some cuts need to be made over time. And what you really have to take into account here, because the Wii U has some really beautiful games, and I own quite a few of them, but what you really have to take into account here is that this is a open world title. Now, one can argue with The Witcher 3 is an open world title, Assassin's Creed Unity is an open world title, and even Grand Theft Auto 5 is an open world title, and they all look great. So what's the excuse for Xenoblade Chronicles X? Have you guys seen how big this world is? This thing is huge. Like, it is massive. Like, it's like Just Cause 2 level, if not bigger. It's a really big game. And what we saw with the original Xenoblade Chronicles X was that the guys at MonolithSoft, they know their stuff. They honestly know their stuff, because Xenoblade Chronicles on the Wii was beautiful. It was probably one of the best looking games on the Wii. Not the best, but one of the best. It had a huge world and stuff, little features like individual blades of grass, particle effects, things that we hadn't seen in other Wii titles. Even ones made by Nintendo, they were there, they were present. Yes, if you blow it up on a big screen like how I have a 56-inch, Xenoblade Chronicles looks like really blotchy on there. But it's still a really good looking game, especially considering the kind of power that the Wii was sporting. It wasn't sporting that much, it was just a slightly faster GameCube. So that was a true testament to what the system could do. Of course, the Wii U is a lot more powerful than the Wii, and it's more powerful than the PS3 and 360. They have titles like GTA 5. So then, why is there such a discrepancy between the two? Why is it a more powerful system has a game that doesn't look as amazing as GTA 5? Well, for starters, you're just going by this little comparison here. What I found interesting is that this was a cinematic cutscene. The guy who did this comparison did not go into in-game footage, which is what the full trailer shows, in-game footage. So I found that interesting to number one. Number two is there are a lot of recent gameplay clips that have been released by Nintendo, which I definitely think you should go ahead and watch. I'm just going to play a few of them right now. And as you can see, this game still looks good. Like, compare this to the original, like the very first time we saw this game, and you can see that there is still an upgrade. Yes, certain things don't look as good as that second trailer, but this thing still looks great. These, like I said, it's massive worlds, so the system is trying to render all this stuff at once, as it is an open world game. So of course, certain things are gonna have to be notched down just a little bit, and attention is gonna have to be taken elsewhere instead of all those fancy lighting effects and particle effects and texture resolution. Even so, the game still looks amazing. Honestly, it looks good. You can't lie, it looks good. Just look at this. I think that it's a pretty good looking game, just like the majority of the Wii U's library from the first party offerings. Okay? So, yeah, I get that people watching that comparison would say that's a downgrade, but no, it's not really. A lot of optimization has been put into this. To have a game this big running at such a stable resolution, that's commendable. That is really commendable. Because, like, still, look at Mario Kart 8 running at 60 frames per second. You couldn't do that on the PS3 and 360. Open world games generally do not run at 60 frames per second at all. It's a very rare occurrence because it's very hard to do that. But the Wii U is a capable system, as we've seen with titles like I said, Mario Kart 8, Pikmin 3, Need for Speed Most Wanted U. I'm just naming titles off the top of my head here. Rayman Legends, Super Mario 3D World. They all look really good, and Xenoblade Chronicles X is one of them. So you have to give it to MonolithSoft. They've created a huge title, over 25 gigs, and all of that. It looks good, has a stable frame rate. That is what is most important. Would you rather play a beautiful game, or would you rather play a stable game? Do you want a game where it's ooh and ah all the time, but it's just chugging along at like 20-25 FPS? Or do you want a game that looks pretty okay, pretty decent, like this, but is running at a much stable frame rate, much more stable frame rate? That is what's important. And this game is said by the developers themselves that it's going to take roughly about 300 hours if you intend to 100% this. So for a game that is 300 hours long and looks this good and plays this good, I think that MonolithSoft can get away with notching down the graphics just a little bit. But like I said, if you watch recent gameplay footage versus then, you'll see that really that whole downgrade thing, it really isn't all that much. Honestly, it isn't. Anyway guys, what do you think about the topic? Make sure to leave your comments down below. Make sure to go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, and definitely click that beautiful little subscribe button if you want to stay in touch with me and my future uploads. So until next time, guys, have a great day. Hope to see you again soon, and I will see you later. Peace.
この町を守ってくれ。頼む。
貴様に殿下の気持ちがわかるか。全ては故郷を失った我ら民のため。地球人はあなた方との衝突を望んでいない。これは全ての人の希望を背負った戦い。引くことはできない。攻撃開始。突入部隊行くわよ。